What is up, guys? It's your boy Paul here, coming at you with another video today. Look, today just what I want to talk to you guys about is a little bit about, as a leader, it is so important for you to ask those under your authority questions to gauge where they're at and to gauge the learning process of what they've learned thus far, okay? And so what do I mean by this? Well, today I had two things come to my mind. So today I met up with a group of 3 guys. We went over some scriptures together this morning, and then later today I am managing PR for a certain group here at the university, and I have a whole team of people underneath me, and I kind of got adjusted with the same thing as well, and so I'll explain kind of what I'm talking about right now. So in what we were reading this morning, it was John chapter 6. It was with when a lot of people were following Jesus. There was like 5,000 men, a whole bunch of people, and they were all really hungry. And so the disciples were kind of like, yo, I don't know how we're going to feed these people. And so Jesus asked a guy named Philip, one of his disciples, talking about like, hey, how are we going to feed them? And then Philip responds back, well, 200 denarii won't even be enough for each of these people to get their bread. And the scriptures say that Jesus said this and tested him. He already knew what he was going to do. He simply asked the question because he was testing him. And so that immediately jumped out to me right off the page. I was like, why would Jesus test? Like if he already knew what he was going to do, what's the purpose? What's the purpose of him even asking the question? Why ask Philip the question if he already knew what he was going to do? And so, that kind of got me thinking. It was like, well, maybe it was to assess where Philip was at. Maybe it was to assess where Philip was in his journey of knowing what Jesus could and couldn't do. And if you notice, Philip immediately went to the material. He immediately went to tangible money, saying, hey, I don't even know if we'll have enough tangible, I don't even know if we'll have enough money, so I don't even know if we'll be able to do it. And here Jesus is knowing that he's not going to use money to multiply the bread. He already knows what he's going to do. And so instead of having faith and trusting in the spiritual, Philip automatically went to the physical and to the material. And so that kind of got me thinking. I was like, okay, I'm kind of mentoring these 3 guys right now. How do I know where they're at? Besides asking questions like and interpreting the scriptures, how do I know where they're at? And so that got me thinking. I was like, well, maybe that means I need to be asking purposeful questions where I already know what the main context. Of course, the passage can have a lot of different meanings, but in a lot of the passages, there's one central meaning. And so maybe, this can imply me asking those type of questions where I already know what a particular passage, the overall general meaning of it. Of course, there can be a lot, but maybe asking them those type of questions and like seeing where they are with the answers in that. And so then I had another situation come up later today for PR, happened on Twitter, and a guy messaged me saying like, hey, is this part of the plan, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, I just didn't know if they had any guidance just based off this one post. And I was like, yeah, no big deal. I've already, given them guidance, whatever. But then it got me thinking again. I was like, okay, that's another person under my leadership. How clear have I been on communicating what the responsibilities, what the roles are, where to go for the resources? How good of a job have I done? Because, and here's something that I want to say. As a leader, it is 100% on you whether or not your people understand. Okay? It is 100% on you. Now, if you have clarified, re-clarified, and re-clarified again, for me, I kind of have like the 3-strike thing. It's like, look, after that, you're just being blatantly negligent of whatever task it is that I'm giving you to do. But you got to understand, if someone is a little bit off the path right now or not doing exactly what you're wanting them to do and they're under your leadership, a lot of it has to do with your communication. See, and here's the reason. I'm communicating a principle to you guys that I already recognize. But because for me, I've already seen it in my life, it may be a lot clearer to me than it is for you on what it is for a leader to ask their students, whatever, their mentees, questions. So this idea may be a lot more clear and a lot more imprinted on my brain than it is for you if you're just listening to this. And so that's something that you got to understand as a leader, is that all of the lessons, all of the principles, all of the duties that you're portraying, they're already clearly imprinted on your brain. Maybe it's because you have more responsibility. Maybe it's because you learn them yourself. whatever the case may be, the stakes tend to be higher when you're the leader. And so you know exactly what needs to get done when. It is your responsibility to communicate that and to re-communicate that and to emphasize it on what it is that they need to learn. And you need to make it as detailed as possible. And so that when they have another question, maybe they can go visit another resource instead of coming directly to you. But again, all that stuff has to be clearly laid out. And I want you to take the responsibility as the leader to, as a leader, let me go back. As a leader, I want you to take the responsibility for the miscommunication. Don't just assume that they misheard you. Assume that you didn't clearly communicate well enough. And again, like I said, if it goes a couple times, then you can figure something out there. But if someone's doing something a little bit off, or if they're a little bit wrong in their answer, or whatever the case may be, and there's a very, very specific answer, well, that just goes to show you that you need to coach them a little bit more. That just goes to show you that you need to help them a little bit more with whatever it is that they're doing, okay? So, practical application for this video. As a leader, let's see, today's Friday. For this upcoming week, you got Saturday, but for this upcoming week, mark out a list of the people who are under your role, under your authority, whatever the case may be. And I want you to specifically ask them questions that you think by now they should have nailed down and be able to answer exactly like you, or maybe it's do the task exactly like you, okay? I want you to make a list of those people who are under your leadership and then write out a list of questions and yes, test them. Not in any mean or hard way, but test them. Because you need to see if when you leave, they're able to take over that exact responsibility and hopefully be able to do it better than you, okay? That's the goal, is for the system or for the business or for whatever it is, not to be dependent on any one person, okay? You don't want anything to be dependent on any one person. You want to build, train, and make these people who are underneath you leaders as such to be able to do exactly what you did to them and have them do it to other people. And then that's where the 2 becomes 4, the 4 becomes 8, the 8 becomes 16, 16 to 32, and it just boom, 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 multiplies everywhere, okay? So that is the practical application. Write down a list of people, and for those lists of people, identify what it is that they need to have solved, be able to do as well as you, or be able to answer as well as you, okay? So look, that's today's video, guys. If it helped, leave it down in the comments below. I would love to hear how it helped. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you know someone who could use this video as well, feel free to share it with them. Until next time, I'll see you guys on the next one.